Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. Self-focus is a That's right, a superpower. One of the greatest tools you got in your toolbox. But here's the thing. You got to learn how to use it. See, everybody out here wants to be everything to everybody. You're trying to help your cousin, your mama, your friend from third grade, your coworker, your neighbor's cat. Everybody get a piece of you. Most people confuse self-focus with selfishness, but they couldn't be more wrong. There is a big difference between being self-centered and being self-aware. When you focus on yourself, you're not turning your back on others. You're simply turning inward to grow. You're choosing to water your own garden first so you can produce the fruit that feeds others. You cannot give what you don't have. If your mind, heart, and energy are all over the place, what exactly are you offering the world? Pieces of a person who hasn't even taken the time to know, heal, and build themselves? See, life is loud. There are people pulling at you, expectations pushing you, and responsibilities stacking up every day. If you're not intentional about stepping back and focusing on who you are, where you're going, and how you're growing, you'll get lost in the noise. You'll wake up one day realizing you've spent years living for everyone else and have no idea who you are. Self-focus is how you avoid that. It's how you reclaim your voice in a world full of echoes. Some folks will make you feel guilty for putting yourself first. Don't listen to them. You're not ignoring others. You're learning to lead yourself. And that leadership starts with discipline, clarity, and commitment to becoming the best version of you. When you grow, everything around you benefits. Your relationships improve. Your work ethic sharpens. Your decisions become clearer, and your peace gets louder. That's the kind of energy people need from you. Not burnout, not bitterness, not confusion, but wholeness. The truth is, self-focus is an act of love. It's saying, I care about the person I am becoming. It's making choices today that your future self will thank you for. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than the version of you that settled, doubted, or held back. That's growth. That's power. That's purpose. And it all begins when you realize that putting yourself first isn't wrong, it's right. There's a powerful truth that too many people overlook. You can't pour into others if your cup is empty. And yet, so many of us are out here trying to give our time, our energy, our love, and our help when we're running on fumes. We show up for everybody else, family, friends, coworkers, even strangers, while quietly falling apart inside. We convince ourselves that being available to everyone all the time makes us strong or noble, but in reality, it often leaves us drained, resentful, and lost. Think about it like this. If you had a pitcher of water and you just kept pouring it into every glass around you without ever refilling it, eventually you'd run dry. It's not about being selfish, it's about being smart. Because when your cup is full, when you're rested, grounded, and clear-minded, what you give to others is real, rich, and powerful. You show up with patience instead of frustration, love instead of obligation, and purpose instead of pressure. But that only happens when you learn to prioritize your own well-being. People with the biggest hearts often struggle with this the most. They feel guilty for taking a break, for saying no, for putting boundaries in place. But you have to understand, burnout doesn't serve anyone. You're no good to the people you love when you're exhausted, irritable, or emotionally disconnected. Recharging is not quitting. Rest is not weakness. Filling your cup is how you make sure what you give comes from overflow, not from depletion. This world will always ask more of you. That's just life. But it's up to you to know your limits, protect your peace, and recognize when your tank is running low. Don't wait until you break down to pull over. Take the time, make the space, and refill your soul. Because the best version of you, the version that loves hard, leads strong, and lives fully, only shows up when your own cup is full first. Your energy goes where your attention flows. That simple truth holds more power than most people realize. Every single day, you wake up with a limited amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy. Where you choose to direct your attention decides exactly how that energy gets spent. If your attention is scattered, your energy is scattered. If your mind is constantly fixed on problems, negativity, or things outside of your control, that's where your power goes. Out the window, into the wind, wasted on things that do nothing to build you. So many people say they feel drained, stuck, or unmotivated, and they think something is wrong with them, but most of the time, nothing is broken. They're just spending their energy in the wrong places. If you spend all day scrolling through social media, comparing your life to someone else's, of course you'll feel like you're behind. If you spend your time overthinking every little mistake you've made or replaying old conversations where you felt embarrassed or misunderstood, your energy is being invested in the past and nothing grows there. Attention is like sunlight. Whatever you shine it on grows. That could be fear or faith, regret or resilience, doubt or discipline. The choice is yours every moment of every day. Focus is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. If you want change, you have to be intentional about where your attention is going. Ask yourself, what am I feeding right now? What thoughts, what habits, what relationships, what patterns? Because what you feed thrives and what you neglect fades. Energy flows in the direction of your attention. So if you want to create peace, focus on peace. If you want success, focus on growth. If you want healing, focus on the process, not the pain. We all know life throws distractions at us. Things that feel urgent, people who pull us into their drama, notifications popping up every second. It's easy to let your attention get hijacked. But just because something is loud doesn't mean it's important. You've got to learn how to guard your attention like it's your most valuable currency, because it is. You can get money back, you can get opportunities back, but you can't get time or energy back once it's been wasted on the wrong things. When you start being aware of your attention, you begin taking your power back. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop being pulled in every direction and start moving with intention. You become the driver, not the passenger. And you begin to understand that it's not about doing everything, it's about doing the right things. It's about aligning your focus with your purpose. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every transformation started with someone deciding to pay attention to what mattered. They cut the noise. They said no distractions. They prioritized their goals. And slowly, over time, their energy flowed into something meaningful. That's how mountains get moved, not all at once, but one focused step at a time. So, you're not where you want to be right now? Don't beat yourself up. Just pause and ask, where's my attention been? What have I been feeding? What thoughts have I been giving the most energy to? Because your answers to those questions will show you exactly what needs to change. Redirect your focus and you'll redirect your life. Because at the end of the day, your energy will always follow your focus. And where your energy goes, that's what you become. Distractions are the enemy of destiny. They don't show up looking like problems. They show up looking like entertainment, comfort, and sometimes even opportunity. That's what makes them so dangerous. A distraction doesn't always scream, I'm here to ruin your focus. Most of the time it whispers, just for a minute, you deserve a break, or you'll get back to it later. And before you know it, minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days, and the thing you said you were committed to gets pushed further and further down your list until it slips away completely. It's not that you lack talent. It's not that you lack potential. Most people fail not because they didn't have what it took, but because they didn't protect what they had. They didn't guard their vision. They let little things steal big dreams. Distractions aren't just time wasters, they're momentum killers. You get a little fire going, a little rhythm, a little progress, and then boom, one distraction pulls you off course, and now you're trying to find that fire again. And that's the trap. Constantly restarting, constantly losing your place, constantly trying to reclaim energy that was never meant to be given away in the first place. We live in a world that profits off distraction. Algorithms are designed to pull your attention. People crave quick responses. Noise is everywhere. But if you're serious about becoming the person you're meant to be, you have to make a decision. Your destiny or your distractions. You cannot hold both. You cannot build your future while constantly checking your past, scrolling someone else's success, or answering every call that doesn't match your calling. That's a hard truth, but it's a necessary one. Every second you spend focused on something that doesn't grow you, heal you, or move you closer to your purpose is a second you'll never get back. Time is the most precious thing you own, and once it's gone, it's gone. Distractions cost more than they look like they do. They steal your clarity, they cloud your instincts, they keep you in cycles where nothing changes but everything feels busy, and that's the scary part. Busyness can trick you into thinking you're being productive. You can be busy for years and still be stuck in the same place, wondering why nothing has shifted. It takes discipline to shut out the noise. It takes courage to say no when everybody else is saying yes. It takes focus to keep your eyes on your own paper in a world full of comparison. But if you can do that, if you can fight through the urge to look away, to scroll, to overthink, to please everyone, you will start to build something that lasts, something real, something that aligns with the person you're becoming, not the person you're trying to escape from. The truth is, your destiny is not something you stumble into by accident. It's something you walk into on purpose. Every step you take requires attention. Every level you reach demands more focus than the one before it, and distractions, no matter how small, can delay what's already yours. So if you want to make progress, if you want to live fulfilled, if you want to truly become everything you were designed to be, you've got to learn how to protect your path. Because the greatest threat to your future isn't failure, it's distraction. And once you understand that, you'll start moving different, you'll think different, and you'll finally start gaining ground toward the life you were always meant to live. Self-focus builds self-worth, self-discipline, and self-love. It's not just about doing what's trendy or taking some time to treat yourself. This is deeper than bubble baths and motivational quotes. It's about doing the real, often uncomfortable work of turning your attention inward and asking, who am I really and who am I becoming? When you begin to focus on yourself in a meaningful, intentional way, you start to understand your value. Not the version the world told you to be, not the version someone else wanted, but your real value rooted in who you are at your core. Self-worth doesn't come from outside validation. You can have all the praise in the world, all the applause, all the attention, but if you don't believe in your own worth when you look in the mirror, none of that will fill you. Focusing on yourself allows you to dig into what truly makes you unique, what makes you powerful, what makes you deserving of respect. You stop waiting for someone else to tell you you're enough and start knowing that you are. That shift changes how you show up in every room. When your self-worth rises, your standards rise too. You stop settling, you stop shrinking. You stop apologizing for simply existing. Now let's talk about self-discipline. That's a word a lot of people don't like because it's not glamorous. It's gritty, but it's necessary. When you're focused on yourself, you start to build habits that support your growth instead of sabotaging it. You wake up a little earlier. You set boundaries. You finish what you start. You learn how to tell yourself no in the moment so you can say yes to your goals in the future. That kind of self-control doesn't come from pressure. It comes from purpose. You can only be disciplined when you care deeply about where you're going, and the more you focus on yourself, the clearer that destination becomes. And then there's self-love. Real self-love is not about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's recognizing your flaws without letting them define you. It's forgiving yourself for who you were while still holding yourself accountable for who you're becoming. You stop tearing yourself down in your own mind and start speaking to yourself with the same kindness you give to others. You start choosing peace over chaos, growth over comfort, and truth over denial. Self-love isn't always soft. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it means walking away from people you care about because you care more about your own well-being. Sometimes it means standing alone so you can stand fully in your power. All of this, self-worth, self-discipline, self-love, grows when you take time to truly know yourself. And you can't know yourself if you're constantly distracted by noise, comparing your life to others, or living by someone else's script. You have to slow down, sit with your thoughts, examine your patterns, and ask yourself the hard questions. What do I really want? What's holding me back? Who am I trying to impress and why? That level of self-inquiry isn't always pretty, but it's real. And real always wins in the long run. You start to realize that you don't need permission to grow, to heal, or to shine. You don't need anyone else to approve of your process. The love you've been given to everyone else, the grace, the patience, the energy, you deserve to give that to yourself too. And when you do, something shifts. You become more grounded, more confident, more aligned. You stop chasing peace and start living it. That's the power of self-focus. It creates a foundation that no one can shake because it's built from within. When you know who you are, you stop chasing what you don't need. You stop running after things that don't fit you, people who don't value you, and goals that don't fulfill you. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck is because they haven't taken the time to get rooted in their true identity. They chase relationships because they're lonely. They chase status because they feel unseen. They chase money because they think it'll give them meaning. But none of that ever satisfies because it's not coming from alignment. It's coming from lack. Knowing who you are changes the entire game. It silences the noise of outside opinions. It shuts down the pressure to prove yourself. You stop trying to wear masks to be liked. You stop adjusting yourself to fit into rooms that weren't built for you. You begin to move with clarity because you've taken the time to understand your own voice, your own values, and your own vision. That's when you start to operate from a place of power instead of insecurity. That's when decisions become easier because you're no longer asking, what will people think? You're asking, does this align with who I am? It's easy to get caught up in the illusion that success looks the same for everyone. That you're supposed to have a certain lifestyle, drive a certain car, have a certain type of relationship by a certain age, but all of that is noise. When you know who you are, you stop following timelines that weren't made for you. You stop chasing things because they look good on other people, and you start creating a life that feels right for you. You realize that peace is more valuable than praise, that purpose is better than popularity, and that freedom is more rewarding than fitting in. Clarity brings confidence, and confidence keeps you from settling. When you're unsure of yourself, you'll accept almost anything. Attention disguised as love. Opportunities that waste your time. People who drain your energy. But when you truly know your worth, you walk away from what doesn't serve you without guilt or hesitation. You stop begging for spaces at tables where your voice was never going to be heard anyway, and you start building your own table. That's not arrogance, it's awareness. It's the result of doing the work to understand your own power. There's something peaceful about not needing to chase. When you're rooted in who you are, you attract instead of pursue. The right people find you. The right opportunities align with you. The right timing reveals itself. You're no longer in a constant state of urgency because you trust your process. You stop measuring your life by what others have, and you start measuring it by how true you're being to yourself. And that internal honesty becomes the compass that guides everything else. You also stop over-explaining. You stop needing everyone to understand your decisions because you understand them. You stop shrinking your dreams to make other people comfortable. You stop compromising your peace for temporary applause. And more than anything, you stop letting fear run the show, because when you know who you are, fear has no hold on you. It might whisper, but it doesn't get the final say. Finding out who you are doesn't come overnight. It comes from silence, from solitude, from reflection. It comes from failing, from healing, from questioning everything you were told to believe about yourself. But once you arrive at that place, once you really see yourself, not through the lens of the past, not through the opinions of others, but through truth, You become untouchable, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. And when you're real, you stop chasing what's fake. You start choosing what feeds your soul, and you begin to build a life that actually belongs to you.